Is it Al Capone's pocket watch?
Oh, wow.
Al Capone is, like I said, absolutely iconic. The fact that he used and wore this is crazy. For me, it's the quintessential Patek chronograph. For me, it's the best reference they ever made.
The rarity and condition watch.
This is the grail. This is the absolute grail. We are back in New York at Sotheby's for their June summer auction. We are gonna play another round of the Price is Right Vintage Watch Edition with my good friend Sacha Davidoff, and the lots will be picked out by our dear friend Jonathon Burford of Sotheby's. Let's go take a look and see what Jonathon has picked out for us. Hopefully I could do better this round. Let's see. Jonathon, good to see you again, my friend.
How are you, buddy?
What do we have for lot number one?
We're coming up to the anniversary of Breguet, so
250th.
yeah, exactly. We have from the original family, one of the nicest empires.
Empire?
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Big size too.
yeah. We sold a really nice the sister watch to this in March.
It has that caliber that everyone's like obsessed with, the Peugeot
The Peugeot movement, yeah.
260th.
So we just recently had one in Hong Kong as well, sell very well. So I thought that would be a good one to bring out. It's in beautiful condition, like you can see the dial, but you can still see the numbers on the case back.
Yeah, and these are incredibly hard to find. Revered caliber that everybody's looking for, but the jumbo size one, because we've sold a few of the smaller size ones. I don't think we've ever had one of the larger size ones, and every time I've tried to buy one, it's gone like higher.
Yeah.
Lot is 77, and the estimate is what?
40 to 80.
48. Okay, that seems pretty reasonable.
So we had one in Hong Kong a month ago, same estimate.
Probably sold around 75, 80.
All in.
Do notes and put your guess in since we don't have a piece of paper. I'm locking in my all-in number. I gotta beat you this round. What do you have?
100.
Wow, you're higher. I'm 72,000. What did the last one just sell for?
60s.
Hammer.
I think
No, all in.
All in 60s.
I think I have this one.
All right, we'll see.
Wait, what's the score? Who's winning?
Well, the last round he creamed me like 6-1 or 7-0, you know, but I think we're even overall.
Overall,
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, so what's next?
Okay, now this, I'm gonna set you a challenge. There's no like market precedence for what these are gonna sell.
Well, first tell us about this watch. This is a very special watch, one of my favorites.
Well, it looks like a 50 fathoms. It essentially come from the same lineage as that, but it's by Bulova, and it was made as a sort of test piece.
Prototype.
Yeah, prototype. And they was hoping it would go into general production, but it didn't. And essentially, that's when the Tornic Ravels 50 fathoms sort of came into existence.
Yeah,
there's
only
10, I think, of these in existence.
Around like 8 to 10 of these.
Never been to auction before. So there's no, like, how do you benchmark pricing? Like, just as an objective, even if you've got no interest in it, you can't just scroll through results and go, well, it's condition.
I know what they've traded for privately,
Right.
2 of them. So, and also both came from Adam Victor, by the way. But
Yeah, Adam Victor also helped design the re-edition of this that Bulova launched a few years ago.
yeah, the MIL-SHIPS.
Yeah, correct.
Re-edition.
So let's look at the condition. I mean, this looks fantastic. This looks like it'd be the original strap too. Like, wow. Condition is wow, wow, wow. This is the grail.
The rarity
This
and
is-
condition watch.
This is the grail. This is the absolute grail.
70 to 140.
70 to 140, lot 33 Bulova.
It doesn't have a huge mainstream appeal, so it's not like we're going to have 15 people registered to bid on this, because it's going to be the dedicated, like, this is a real collector's piece. So I don't think it's got a hugely wide appeal, but for the right.
You'd be surprised because it's so hard to find. Enough people know about them and know how special they are. It is very niche, but all it takes is a couple people to fight over it. But I tend to agree with you. It doesn't have the, you know, the name brand appeal as like a Tornic Rayville, you know, because it wasn't military issued. It was a prototype, not, you know, it's one of those you really have to know. But you lock in your guess?
Yep.
What'd you guess?
125.
I put 105.
We shall see.
What do we have next?
A tropical 6241, probably the best.
So reference 6241, so Bakelite bezel, pump pushers, Paul Newman dial, as Jonathon said, tropical, meaning that the paint has naturally aged from black to brown due to a defect in the paint, sometimes due to humidity, but
And that's the assumption.
that's the assumption, right?
And it's the red outer track, and again, that's browned around the outer track. It's like such a beautiful watch.
Wow, condition is spectacular. Magnificent.
But it's got an estimate to match, right?
So with an estimate of 400 to 800,000?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
So you got a consignor who really wanted to make sure he got the money.
Look, we all know auction estimates are partly sort of like marketing to get people, as many people interested as possible to get. They should also give collectors.
The idea is that once you're in it, like, what's one more bid?
I'm going to show you a watch in a minute where the estimate, there's complete opposite to this sort of estimate, but the quality of the watch is so high, but the estimate is very low. This is one, the estimate is commensurate with what the watch is worth, right? Look, Heritage sold one, a standard 6239 Newman last week this week for 250, yeah. So like the market is fairly strong for these things.
And listen, I think this either, I'm gonna be completely honest, this either gets a bid around the low or it passes. Because at 400 hammer, you're asking the buyer to pay $500,000 for that watch, you know?
I don't think that there's that much this season in New York. And so maybe you might get more focused on like the bigger players.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming like if you get a bid at like 380, they'll push it through, you would presume.
I think the quality of the watch, personally, I think the quality of the watch and the reception that it's had so far from collectors.
Hold on, I need to do some maths. Okay, what did you put?
500.
480 is my guess.
480, 500.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so we're
Not like that.
yeah.
You know?
Okay, so what's
Right
the
around
next
the
lot?
Okay, so a screw down pusher came out of Canada from the original family. Really beautiful example.
So I think if most people would ask what the ultimate grail Paul Newman in stainless steel was, it is this. It is the reference 6263. You have screw down pushers, Bakelite bezel, 2-color Panda dial, produced for a short period, very difficult to find.
I think the other thing is that find good examples is really difficult because with the white dial, you get any marks on there at all. Like the delta between a good example and a poor example is huge.
Well, that's for, I think for all Newmans, like,
But particularly with the white dials, because there's any mark just shows up. Like it's
If it's on the black, you can like maybe get away with it.
wow, this is spectacular. I almost dropped my lid. The case is a little soft, but like the dial, loom, bezel, everything is perfect. MK1 bezel, MK1 pushers. Wow, wow, wow. What's the estimate and lot number?
250.
So lot 45, 250 to 500. That's a reasonable estimate. Yeah. So, oh, so you're doing back-to-back Newmans in the sale. Wow.
I'm gonna go old school on this. Just give me a second. Still.
It's tough, you know, and these don't trade hands often enough that you could keep like a great tab on where the market is. And especially like Jonathan pointed out, getting a great example is very, very difficult. Very much a chore, you know, very hard to find.
Yes, sir.
I put 550.
650.
Okay. Yeah, I think both could be equally right.
It's on an international level because the dollar's a bit low at the moment, like compared to the Swiss franc, it's like 12% lower than it was last year,
Yeah.
for example. And that's why I bumped it up from 600 to 650.
Yeah. All right, so what did we pull out next? We are 4 lots down.
Yeah, mega Pateks. Steel 1463 with steel Breguet numerals.
It looks beautiful.
An
from here,
amazing
so-
case. It's a mega watch. And then a white gold 3448. Rare enough as it is, only the second one to be double signed by its retailer and the only one on strap to be signed by its retailer. There's a one on bracelet, a mesh bracelet that was sold a couple of years back.
Right, I remember that watch.
So 2 white vintage Patek for your pleasure and for your estimation.
So let's start with the Tasti Tondi. So this is lot 18 with an estimate of laughably 130 to 260. I think that is incredibly low.
Everybody in the world will be looking at it because who wouldn't buy this?
I'm
low
looking at it.
estimate?
Yeah, I'm looking at it, you know, so.
That was throwing no shade at you, mate. But
That's good because you get a lot of people in. And
absolutely, but also, so auction's a lot about momentum, right? Sometimes you want bidding momentum to come through. Sometimes I've seen this. If you have something too low, everybody gets excited, piles in early, and then it loses momentum. So maybe if you actually had it at 2 to 4, that momentum, because you've weeded out the people who are just looking for a bargain, and then you've got serious bidders on it. So I can see the psychology sort of differential between why you might want to have an estimate high or low, to try and create bidding momentum in the auction room.
Watch is spectacular.
For this purpose of you guys' game, it's interesting because we're giving you no guide, right? The guide is what watches like this historically sold, not what our estimate is on it.
Correct. Yeah. And you know what? It's funny because I was talking to a client about that, and I'm like, forget the estimate. You know, because he's like, do you think I could get it around 300,000? I'm like, no way. No way, you know?
But
so
you know, you don't know, and that's the fun of auction, right? Maybe there's an earthquake on Monday and who knows?
I mean, I love the Tasti Tondi. It's probably my favorite Patek chronograph reference. I love the screwback case. I love the pushers, you know, like for me, it's the quintessential Patek chronograph. For me, it's the best reference they ever made. Size is fantastic. And the combination of stainless steel, which they did not use a lot,
Yep.
paired with Breguet numerals, it just puts it over the top.
I mean, that's
think
quintessential Patek also.
this is quintessential Patek, you know, and condition of the dials, fantastic. You know, hard raised enamel, doesn't seem like it's been cleaned much, if ever.
No, lightly
Strong
washed
case,
probably,
light,
but not,
yeah,
it's
but
still,
not like,
the A's intact, like you can still see
right,
the top.
you still see the Zapon on it. You don't see like, you know, matte white lines going down, you know, it's beautiful example. What did you put?
420,000, sir.
I'm higher. I'm a little more bullish. I went 575.
Well, we will see.
Yeah.
I just think, you know, you don't find an example that comes up like that very often. You just don't, you know? And that is
Just
like
going off,
the Grail 1463, at least for me, and I think for a lot of other collectors too.
It's of the quality that the the like mega collector, that small group who are international who are looking at trophy watches, someone will have one and buy this and replace the one they got in their collection. Or like it's of that quality that if you're into this era of watches and this style of them, it's one of the best ones you ever like.
Tell us about the next lot.
So yeah, white gold 3448. They made what, 100 white gold 3448. First automatic perpetual calendar, serial production. It cases in beautiful condition. So essentially this is a two-owner watch. Original family to the current collector who's had it for a while. It was retailed by Bayer and has Bayer on the dial. So they have two known double-signed white gold 3448s, one bracelet.
Case is very, very sharp. Yeah, it's very nice.
And like we've all seen a few of these before. You can tell when the lugs, they turn to like toothpicks when they've been polished too much. And again, the delta between a good example and a poor example, there's nothing you can do when those lugs have been destroyed. So to find it in this example, rarity, again, like super, super watch. And there was, I don't know, you saw earlier this week, there was a unique dialed white gold 3448.
Monaco Legend Group, that sold very well.
Sold for 2.5 maybe?
Yes.
There's no sticker on this. Let's start though with the lot number and the estimate, because this is lot 22.
500 to a million.
I think that's right on the money.
The maths?
Yeah, it's a tough one because they've gone all over the place in auction. Because I remember I was trying to buy one several years ago and the owner was like, well, there was one that sold for $1 million. I'm like, yeah, there's also one that sold for 500. Yeah.
There was one that sold for 350 in Geneva.
Right, it's tough.
I mean, it's a guessing game, so just guess.
Guess away.
I just changed my number. Okay, what do you have?
Oh, you should never do that. 750.
725. I've went from 7 to 725.
I think there's a possibility that it does better than that. Just the quality of it is.
The quality of the piece is great. And now that you say that, I'm like, yeah, we probably guess low.
You're thinking of prices in terms of being in the trade and being in the industry, and you're even if you don't think about it, you're going to be caveating all your estimates in what you might pay or a bit above what you might pay that a collector would come in for, maybe. Yeah. Whereas the result, I think this is a collector watch. I'd be really surprised if it ends up in a dealer's hands. Yeah. I think it's going to go to a very serious mid-century collector, and they'd probably be more aggressive than you guys would be on prices, just because that's the only opportunity to get it.
I love it when he insults us, but does it with such a panache and elegance.
The accent covers all manner of sins.
You guys are idiots. It's going to sell for way more. Exactly. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guesses in the book, so 3 more to go. Let's see what Jonathan could stump us with next. Oh God, this is going to be a tough one.
I don't know anything about
tough one. That's great.
Okay, so 2 modern-ish watches. We've seen a few of these come to market recently.
Yes.
Mercator?
Yeah, they've been historically been relatively cheap, but we've seen some special editions, limited editions come up recently.
So this is an enamel dial of which map?
This is the Americas, one of 12. They even kindly wrote limited edition on the side of the case, just in case you're wondering. Yeah, they made 12, and it's 12 on the papers. There was one other sold at auction a couple of years ago, and they said one of 10, but the paper's literally clear as that.
Right.
We've seen one of Portugal sell recently. We've sold one of Asia sell recently.
Yep. They made quite a few different ones.
Yeah, absolutely. The standard issue watches celebrate the 400th anniversary of Makata, the cartographer, the map designer, and they did it with the monochrome kind of dial, which I just have never really done it for me. Yeah. When they do these really vibrant enamels, I think they're absolutely stunning.
So the complication on that watch is a double retrograde.
Yeah, double retrograde.
This is lot 74 with an estimate of 40 to 80,000. Is it complete?
It is complete. It's another one that, this era of watches, all of them like flake, like a Patek, but it has everything, yeah. And so the reason I brought it out, we've seen a couple of them come to market recently. They've been doing relatively well. But these are all done limited, and they were at the end of the run.
It's got like the gilt also.
Yes. And also we've been seeing enamels do well recently, right? As the sort of sports watch obsession has kind of not passed, but as negative. Yeah,
I think the market's really expanded and broadened so much that people are looking for everything. Sports still obviously always going to sell well, but people are willing to kind of move on to other things and try other things. Okay, I have locked in my answer.
Yes,
I put 65,000.
60,000.
So we're close. What were you saying?
I think you're both wrong.
You think it's going higher?
Yeah, I think it'll go higher.
But the ones at auction recently have all sold in that like 50 range, 50 to 60.
Limited maps. There was a Portugal one that sold recently. I suspect it'd be like a 70 hammer. I think it could well do that, yeah.
Okay, now is the difficult one.
Yeah. Again.
Tell us about this one.
So this is George Daniel's anniversary.
So how many of these did he?
36. Last one was delivered last week in the UK. Yeah, exactly, to the pink gold one. The reason, I brought it out, one, because you don't get to see a huge amount of these. The prices have been all over the place. And this was one of the hottest watches in the world.
It was one of the hardest watches to get and the most desirable, and it was selling in Philips for millions, right. And now
We've seen like independents like COVID crazed, then dip, and then now like bounce back again.
So the estimate is 400 to 800,000. I mean, this is tough just because I know past results, but then I also saw the dip in the market.
Auction, you need 2 people. You don't need 20 people to be bidding on it. This hasn't been sold in the US for a bit. The question is, there was one sold in Hong Kong not long ago, but it was at a time that was right in the tariffs issue. So none of the American buyers were really participating in Hong Kong. So maybe that.
George Daniel's arguably one of the most important watchmakers of our generation.
Certainly the most influential.
Most influential,
Coaxial escapement,
Right.
which I think he had like dérogation, like a special permission to use by Omega for these series because he made so few of them.
And then the combination of, Roger Smith finishing them, obviously, because George Daniels is no longer with us.
Yes.
If you want to go and buy a Roger Smith now, they're what, 450,000 retail price, right? So
And you can't get them. You have to wait 10 years, So all right, I locked in my answer. What'd you put?
I have no clue. So I just got to throw out a number.
What'd you throw out?
750,000, sir.
I put 850,000.
Oh, so we're not like that,
not
completely.
I don't know that. Listen, it's Jonathan's right. It could take any 2 buyers on any given Sunday, and it goes for over $1 million again. Okay, the tiebreaker. You got something good for us? Okay, so what do we have here?
Okay, so again, probably for a domestic market more than the international market.
Is it Al Capone's pocket watch?
Oh, wow.
There you go. Cased in platinum with his name.
There's a letter and signature from him?
Yeah, it's been sold before and it comes originally from the family. It's not cased by Patek.
The dial is Patek.
Dial is Patek, the movement is Patek.
Okay.
But it's cased. I mean, not unusual for this era, right? They were importing movements and dials and then casing
Precious metals.
domestically.
Exactly.
It's all domestic.
UK, Japan.
Yeah, that's why you see Rolex USA bracelets, because they didn't want to import the gold from the 50s and 60s.
Is it also missing a hand?
It's also missing a hand.
Ah, okay.
So this is really more of like a collectible versus horology.
This is like, do you want to own something that Al Capone whipped out of his pocket before he pulled the gun and shot you?
Do you believe in karma or juju? Like, is it a juju? Like, has it got negative things?
Al Capone is such a historically important figure. He's iconic.
Yeah.
He's absolutely iconic.
Portrayed.
This is lot 13 with an estimate of 80 to 160. This is really, really tough.
Do you want the context, price context?
Please.
So I remember at a previous auction house, I was offered this in the end of the 2016-17, and we put a very low estimate on it. They ended up offering the entire collection during COVID at a small auction house in Northern California by the Capone family. His favorite gun sold for almost $1 million, and this sold for $230,000 of COVID 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Maybe in 2022.
Well, I'm gonna lock in my answer. I mean, listen, Al Capone is, like I said, absolutely iconic. The fact that he used and wore this is crazy. Like, oh my God.
If a watch could talk,
I would buy this, but I'm not gonna spend that much money on a pocket watch by Al Capone. If it was a wristwatch, I can see it because that would blare. It's so cool. All right, what'd you get?
125.
For 200. 200,000.
I think there's like a bad or wrong or right. It's a really.
Yeah,
there isn't. This is a pure speculation.
I just think, with the provenance and with who it is, being such an important pop culture figure, an important person historically, good, bad, and different. And there's so many people who love that kind of gangster nostalgia, mafia,
Like, it could be a museum, it could be one of those things who buys it. I mean.
Right, you never know.
I don't know.
Good luck.
Thank you very much, mate.
Awesome. Thank you so much for playing this year's round of Price is Right, Sotheby's edition. There's a lot of stuff I really like in the sale. You guys curate a great sale as always. Hopefully I win this round.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's got it.
My bad luck continues.